What's up, guys? This is Lichtsang here. Today I wanna talk to you about Master Yi Set 1 decklist. I have talked to a few people on Reddit about this decklist, and I felt like there's interest in how to play Master Yi optimally in Set 1 to perform well at your locals or at your Summoner Skirmish. Yeah, so in the beginning, I'll talk a little bit about my TCG and Riftbound journey. And then I'll talk about the deck, and then we will dive into the deck list. If you're only interested in the deck list, you can just skip to the deck list part. So, I've played TCGs for quite a while. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was like 12, 13. We had a team back then with like 15, 16. I played Nationals and the European Championship and different Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments. And then while studying psychology, I picked up Magic the Gathering. A friend showed it to me, and I fell in love with Magic, completely dropped Yu-Gi-Oh! And became a bit obsessed with MTG. Played a lot of MTG Arena. Hit the 250 both in limited and constructed several months in a row and stuff like that. And played way too much Magic the Gathering. And then I saw in autumn 2025, just before Riftbound released, I saw a random YouTube video on Riftbound, and I thought, all right, that looks interesting. Let's try this new game. And yeah, once again, I fell in love with a new TCG. I played the release event in a local city near me. Really liked the way how it combines a strategy game with a card game, with holding the battlefields and balancing your power to win the game. Mm, yeah, and then I liked the game so much that one day after the release event, I just ordered all the cards for Master Yi decklist that I saw perform really well in China. In one of the regionals there, it made second place. And it wasn't ramp or it wasn't like classic ramp or Aurora Yi, it was more like a mid-range aggro-ish Master Yi decklist. And I liked how it looked, so I just ordered all the cards without really knowing the game yet. I hadn't tested online a lot. So yeah, then I played online a little bit on TCG Arena, played my first Summoner Skirmish, and ended up in the finals of the skirmish. And we actually decided to split the prices because how the pricing of the Summoner Skirmish works, if you end up in the finals, I feel like it would just feel so bad to end up second because you basically get nothing, and the first one gets the buy and the mat and some boosters. So we decided to split, and I gave the other guy the buy because I didn't really care about the regional at that point. That changed, and I was like, damn, I need this buy. So I gave up the buy without playing it. We had also played for 10 hours, so I just wanted to drive home. I played my second Summoner Skirmish, uh, and ended up in the finals again. Split prices again. I played basically this deck list, but with only one Dead Bloom Predator in the main deck, which makes the Kai'Sa matchup really difficult. And both finals were Kai'Sa. So the second guy said, "I really want the buy. I already booked flights for Bologna. I will just give you the playmat if you give me the buy." And I thought, okay, yeah. Apparently he wants it more than I do. After that, I regretted it again, and I was like, "Damn, I really want this buy. I really want to play in Bologna." So I played the third Summoner Skirmish, ended up in the finals again. And this time I played it out. I didn't make a deal because I said to the other guy, I really need this buy. I don't care. We have to play. And I won. And then the fourth time, the last skirmish I played with this deck, um, which is closest to this deck list. The only difference was that I was too I didn't want to spend money, so I only played two Dead Bloom Predator. So this is probably a better decklist than the one that I played on the four skirmishes. But yeah, fourth skirmish, I end up in the finals again. The other guy says, "Bro, I really need to buy for Bologna. I will give you the mat." And once again, I said, "Okay, I will give up the buy because I already had mine for Bologna." Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with the set one journey. This all happened in like end of November, start of December-ish. Now I've basically dropped playing set one and I'm fully preparing for set two. But I felt like maybe there's still interest in the Master Yi deck list for set one. So I just want to show you guys this. I think I had like an 80% win rate in the Summoner Skirmishes, depending on how you count an intentional draw. Because in this tournament structure, if you end up like 3-0 or 4-0, it just makes a lot of sense to draw. Although obviously I know there's like there are different opinions on that topic, but if you want to play a tournament optimally and if it's allowed, then you should probably draw the last round if you have like a 3 or 4 hour score. So yeah, I had like an 80% win rate, and the only really bad matchup is Kaiser. So this main deck is built to beat everything except for Kaiser, and I think I still had like a 55% win rate against Kaiser, but if you play against really good Kaiser players with a good deck list, this will be a really tough matchup. Um, and that's what the sideboard is for. So yeah, let's dive into the actual deck list. So obviously we've got Master Yi as our champion unit. Then we play 9 2-drops. Yeah, Clockwork Keeper, awesome card. It's just a 2-drop in the early game, and then obviously you can draw with it in the late game when you don't care about runes that much. Stalwart Poro, turn 1 is such a good play in set 1 because it's a 2 energy, 5 might defender, which is pretty crazy. And yeah, Pit Rookie can be good in a matchup like Kaiser, where you want to maybe turn a 3 might unit into a 4 might unit to make it harder for them to kill it with something like Falling Star, just as an example. Then Kiana obviously is great, Deflect is great against Kaiser. When I conquer draw one or channel one is so good because it gives you a lot of flexibility. You always either want cards or you want runes or you want both. But yeah, such a good card. Then I played two Carnivore Snapvine. You can debate whether you really want to play this card. I felt like it's great in the enemy matchup to just, eat their battlefields without them being able to react to it a lot of the time. Yeah, but 2 power for a 6 might unit is pretty tough because this deck is quite power hungry. I think most decks are, but yeah, so you can debate whether you want to play the Snapvine. Wheel of Water is great because he's good at attacking. This deck's problem is usually attacking into battlefields with a lot of might. And he's attacking with 4, which is quite good for a 3 energy unit. And then obviously Dead Bloom Predator, such a great card. This helps so much in the Kaiser matchup. If you use this efficiently against a Kaiser player, maybe play it with like 10 runes so that you have some runes up to defend it, or play Dead Bloom plus Zonia's Hidden on the battlefield. That's crazy against Kaiser because even if they have something like a Watcher, which is a pretty good answer against the Dead Bloom, um, Dead Bloom goes down to 5 and then up to 7 with Yi's ability. They trade with the Watcher and you just get the Dead Bloom back to base, can be pretty good. And obviously a horrible scenario for them if they have to pay the flag cost to target it with spells and then you just get it back with Sonya. So against Kaiser, you really want to save Sonya's Hourglass for your Dead Bloom Predator. Okay. Obviously, the Wuju Bladesman legend, such a good legend ability. It turns all of those little units into problems on a battlefield that the opponent has to deal with. And a lot of decks struggle surprisingly against, or not that surprisingly, but really struggle against something like a 5 might Poro on a battlefield. They have to invest a lot of resources into that, which will win you a lot of games. We play 7-5 split rune wise, so we play more body runes. Our champion unit uses body, and then all of our units that cost power cost body power, so that's why you play more body runes. Then the growth, obviously we are a hold deck. We try to survive our opponent's attempt to conquer the battlefields that we hold. So yeah, growth is good. Um, you should play this when you go first, obviously, because if your opponent can hold, that's pretty bad. And as I said earlier, we can struggle to conquer battlefields that our opponent really invests into. So we don't want to give them free resources by playing this when we go second. Dreaming Tree is pretty good because we've got those cards that we can use without investing power to draw cards. Discipline is +2 might draw 2 on Dreaming Tree, which is pretty good. Against a deck like Kaiser, Dreaming Tree can be annoying because they usually are better than we are in abusing this battlefield. So maybe be careful with that. And then Obelisk, yeah, this can help us to, if we go second, we can go to 4-6-8 to play that Bloom turn 3, something like that. So yeah, just think about when you want to use the Obelisk. Usually I play Dreaming Tree in game 1, but yeah, you should just think about that depending on the matchups. Defy, obviously, such a good spell, maybe one of the best spells in set 1. Pretty good against, I mean, it's devastating against any. Um, I think I played against 8 Annies in the 4 skirmishes, and I didn't lose a single game against any. I 2-0'd 8 different Annie players in the 4 skirmishes, so that's part of the success of this deck list. If you know that you will face more Kaiser in your locals or in your Summoner Skirmish, you should probably play a Ramp E main deck version of this deck. We'll get to the sideboard in a minute, but if you expect like a mix of decks and maybe a few Kaisers and more any, then this deck list is so good because yeah, if they rebuke or fight or flight your 2-drop or your 3-drop, that's not that big of a problem for you. Defy is crazy because you can stop them from Ride the Wind for the win. You need to be careful with them playing Vi um, and waiting a turn because they will have, yeah, I mean, it's still bad if you stop them from using Ride the Wind, but a lot of the times the most devastating scenario for the any player is they are at 6 points, they play their Vi from hand, they play Ride the Wind, then they invested 4 energy and 2 power, you defy the Ride the Wind, and if they don't have a second one, you usually win. So yeah, that's what happened a lot of the time. Mm, so in the Yanni matchup, you should probably save your device for the most crucial points of the game. Against Kaiser, you can't defy Falling Star or Cathian Rain, so you can be a little bit more, open with using your defy. Obviously, you still want to think a lot about when to use it, but defying a Void Seeker is pretty good. Yeah, defying Smokescreen in a crucial combat situation is pretty good. And then obviously On Guard and Discipline. On Guard is such an energy efficient spell. Giving 2 might in a crucial combat situation is pretty good. Charm is amazing, but you really want to think about the time when to use it, because against a deck like Kaiser or Annie, um, you should worry about them using cleave, using removal, using fight or flight, because if you use charm in your turn, I mean, you can only use it in your turn, but if you use charm in your turn and they are able to remove your unit, because you're usually holding with one unit to get the Yi ability, and they can fight or flight it out or remove it. That's horrible. So yeah, just think about what they could have to answer your charm. Uh, Obviously, the ideal scenario is when they are tapped out. Something like you play a Stalwart Poro into a battlefield, charm their Kaiser into your battlefield, Kaiser dies, because Poro is at 5, something like that is pretty good and can win games for you. Also, yeah, Kaiser or Darius are pretty good targets for the charm, but once again, watch out for the Darius effect if they have energy up. Just be aware of you don't want to give them 3 points that will probably or could lose you the game. And then find your center. Once again, an amazing spell in this deck. Yeah, if in the early game the ramp is crucial to get to Dead Bloom earlier, or to, just have more runes to make your big plays. And then in the late game, when you don't care that much about the rune, it just costs 1 energy, and it's a 1 energy ramp and draw, which is pretty good. And you can even do it in your opponent's turn. Sonya's so important in matchups like Victor. You can see that I uploaded a gameplay video against the set 1 Victor. I'm not including gameplay in this video, so you can just, if you are interested in gameplay, just look at the other video. Yeah, pretty good to save yourself from something like Calderweek against the Victor, or the Dead Bloom Sonya's play that I mentioned earlier. It's so good against Kaiser. Let's look at the sideboard. So this is the whole idea against the Kaiser matchup. You basically turn your mid-range Yi into a ramp Yi version. You are already playing 2 Find Your Center in the main deck. You're adding the 3rd Find Your Center, 2 Catalyst. From my experience, that should be enough ramp to get to the 8 to 10 rune range early enough. Test that for yourself. Since I dropped playing set 1, I didn't play hundreds of matches with this list, but it worked out really well and it felt pretty good against the Kaisers. In the first 2 skirmishes that I played, the only losses I had were against Kaiser, and then in skirmish 3 and 4, where I adopted this sideboard strategy against Kaiser, the matches felt way better, and I think I drawed and won against the Kaisers from then on. Yeah, so you take in, you already have the 3 Dead Bloom. You take in White Flame as another big unit that is problematic for Kaiser. You take in Tasty. It's also annoying for a Kaiser to remove. Even if they do something like Falling Star, use Falling Star on this, you still get the 2 runes, you get a draw, and you can maybe even boost it with something like Discipline or On Guard, and the ability of the Tasty to accelerate as one of the only units in your deck next to Yi is pretty important for tempo plays. Sabotage, really good against Kaiser and Annie. You want to know what's in their hand that can change the whole game. And obviously take out Icathian Rain, take out Falling Star, take Ride the Wind, something like that can be pretty huge. I usually really struggle whether I want to use it in the early game to get the knowledge about my opponent's hand, but I tend to use it in the mid or late game when the power cost is not too punishing for my game plan, and I will still know their hand for the crucial late game deciding turns. Yeah, so that's the whole idea. You can experiment with what you want to move out in the Kaiser matchup. Against Annie, I usually just take in Sabotage and maybe move out something like Charm. So that's the mid-range Yi with a little bit of an edge against Kai'Sa with this sideboard strategy. Um, as I said, adapt to the field that you will face in your locals or in your summoner skirmish. So if you expect a lot of Kai'Sa, maybe put those cards in from the beginning, play a ramp version, and then you can just look at the good ramp deck lists from Houston. I personally don't like Aurora Yi that much. Um, yeah, so I won't talk that much about it, but it can be really good or it can be really bad. And I prefer a deck that's constant in what it does, to not rely on luck to win your games. And yeah, if you expect a lot of any, this deck will probably be pretty good. As I said, I didn't lose a single game against an any. And yeah, that was my Master Yi deck list. I would be really happy if you comment on what videos you would like to see. I'm thinking about doing a video on a budget version of this deck. Obviously, the Dead Bloom is quite expensive, and the big units in the sideboard are quite expensive. And some of the cards have like a little bit of value, like Kiana or Zonias. So if you want me to do a budget version deck list, I can do that. I can also do some more set 1 gameplay if you want to see this deck list in action. And I'm also thinking about doing a video where I challenge set 2 decks with the set 1 deck list. And I will also upload my gameplay from preparing for Bologna, some set 2 gameplay with commentary. Yeah, so just leave a comment, let me know what you would like to see. I hope you like this deck list. Try it in the last month of the set 1 meta at your locals or at your summoner skirmish. Let me know if you did well. I discussed it with some people on Reddit, and I told them my thoughts about the set 1 meta and about this specific Master Yi version. And some tried it and did really well at their Summoner Skirmish. I think a few got also got finals, or I think one guy even got first place. So yeah, let me know what you think about it, and I hope you enjoy this decklist video. Check out the gameplay that I uploaded, and see you next time. Thank you.